Alright guys, I just got done watching WWE Extreme Rules 2012 and I like the show. I haven't really read any reviews or results from anyone else, but just getting done watching it, it's fresh in my mind, and I have to say that I enjoyed this pay-per-view probably more than WrestleMania. I really liked this show and I thought it had a lot of great stuff on it. The main event, the outcome wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I can't complain about the way it went down. I thought they did a great job with it, and I had heard rumors kind of about the outcome. But anyway, just to start the show, we get that YouTube Miz versus Santino Marella for the US title match. I really expected the Miz to win here, and I think the belt on Santino doesn't help anyone because he's never going to be more than a comedy wrestler. However, the Miz, the US title, could help get him back into some type of spotlight. I mean, it was just brutal here. He comes out, he cuts a promo on how he's the pre-show. He shouldn't be the pre-show, and he loses clean to the Cobra here. And it was just really sad and disappointing. I mean, I can't even remember the last time he was on TV. I think he was in a backstage segment with Laurinaitis maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that was it. I remember Ric Flair saying that losing your confidence is the most dangerous thing in this business. And watching The Miz out there, it makes me think that he's lost his confidence. They've buried him so much and they just don't care about him. And then the whole you're not even on the WrestleMania card angle, I could see that getting to a person, and I think The Miz has just lost his confidence straight up. And it's really sad because I think he does have talent and could be a star, but they're just not going to use him like that. It's going to take a lot for The Miz to recover from this. So Santina keeps the belt. We see Eve and Teddy Long backstage with Cody Rhodes and Big Show. They have to get the steps for the match, so they spin a wheel. They have Teddy spin it. It lands on tables. And then Eve and Cody blame Teddy. They're like, Teddy, come on. And this was just funny. He's like, what'd I do? But, and he's still wearing that giant name tag. So, Stryker and Cole are the announce team for this pre-show. And I notice that Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is sitting right behind Michael Cole, which makes sense because they're in Chicago. But it stood out to me. It's funny. He was wearing this fuzzy hat. If you see the show again, you can see him right there. And Stryker is just so goofy. He reminds me of Michael Scott from The Office, just with the way he acts and looks. It's strange. Then we get the first match of the actual pay-per-view, Kane versus Orton, Falls Count Anywhere. Lawler actually mentions, I wonder if anyone let Paul Bearer out of that refrigerator. And I thought that was funny. They just brawl around the entire time. They brawl backstage. They bust into a dressing room where some superstars are watching the pay-per-view. Zack Ryder attacks Kane. It does nothing to him. And then he throws Orton into these metal pipes. Why are there always metal pipes everywhere? I mean, I know they make the good banging sound when they fall, but my God, everywhere they go, they have these random metal pipes just all over the damn place. So Randy Orton kicks out of a choke slam. So Kane goes for a tombstone on the chair, but Orton reverses it into an RKO on the chair and gets the win. So winner Randy Orton here. I thought this was okay. It was a pretty good opener. Backstage, Laurinaitis and Eve. Laurinaitis has a new haircut. Teddy comes in with champagne. He pours them glasses and they toast. Laurinaitis gets a call from Triple H, but he takes it off camera. Then we get Brodus Clay with Hornswoggle versus Dolph Ziggler with Swagger and Vicky. Something funny here was Cole says to Booker, if you were a dinosaur, you'd be a Stegosaurus. And Booker says, what is that? He didn't know what a Stegosaurus was. I was laughing my ass off at this. And he says it's because they have the smallest brains. And I don't know. I thought that was great. So, this was actually the first real Brodus Clay match. Ziggler actually got some offense here, and I thought it was decent. Jack Swagger tries to interfere, He actually attacks Brodus on the outside at one point, and then he gets on the apron later. But despite the interference, Brodus still wins. He beats Dolph Ziggler clean with a big splash, and that was it. I really like Dolph Ziggler. I am a fan of his, and I think he's got so much potential and talent. However, he's so good at selling and making other guys look good. I'm really afraid that that's all they're ever going to use him for, and that's really disappointing. Then we get Big Show versus Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title in a tables match. The entire match is set up with the idea that Cody Rhodes cannot possibly put Big Show through a table. So they work with that angle. Eventually Big Show is on the apron. Cody drop kicks him, and Big Show's leg falls through a table and breaks it. And Big Show's like, at first I'm like, was that supposed to happen? Clearly it was. Cody Rhodes wins the match, becomes the new Intercontinental Champion, and afterwards Big Show spears Cody and then chokeslams him through a table, and the crowd boos. And I'm starting to think, is Big Show going to turn heel? So he's getting ready to leave, and then he goes and picks Cody Rhodes up and gorilla presses him over the ropes through another table on the outside. And Cody Rhodes eventually gets up, and the fans are chanting Cody. The announcers are putting him over, how he's walking out under his own power. And I think Cody Rhodes is going to turn babyface, and Big Show is going to turn heel. So this was pretty interesting. Then we get a Daniel Bryan promo. He says he gets more chicks than Sheamus. His beard is manlier than Sheamus's. He says the Chicago crowd is overrated and unoriginal. And then he leaves, and we see AJ like watching from the shadows. She's stalking him now. And Lawler actually mentions this. He says, why is AJ lurking in the shadows? I don't know where they're going with this, but I guess she's just going to become his stalker now. So we get Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the World Heavyweight title. 2 out of 3 falls. Sheamus comes out. He's wearing an 18-second shirt. To me, it sounded like Sheamus actually got some boos here, especially when he got in the ring and he does the arms out thing where he goes, fella. It sounded like people booed Sheamus. Daniel Bryan got a lot of yes chants. Sheamus wins the first fall from a disqualification. Daniel Bryan just starts kicking him, and he refuses to stop. The fans are chanting yes with every kick, and the referee gives the win to Sheamus over disqualification. Daniel Bryan gets Sheamus in the yes lock, and Sheamus passes out, giving the second fall to Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan just kicked Sheamus's ass here. This match was probably my favorite match of the night, the best match on the show, in my opinion. And Sheamus, I mean, Daniel Bryan works kind of a stiff style anyways with the kicks and the submissions. And he looked like he just legit beat up Sheamus here. I mean, it was rough. So Daniel Bryan, the officials actually are checking on Sheamus at this point. And Daniel Bryan's doing a dueling yes chant, and the crowd's doing yes and no, kind of like Cena. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. They're doing the dueling yes and no chants. Sheamus hits a bro kick on Daniel Bryan, but he kicks out. And then he hits another one and gets the win. So Sheamus wins the match, but like I said, this was a great match. I thought AJ might interfere and cost Daniel Bryan the match, but I'm really glad they didn't do that. I thought this match was good on its own, didn't need any interference crap. So I really like this, and I'm glad. I mean, of course I would prefer that Daniel Bryan won, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. Then we see Santino and the Great Khali watching these two jobbers in the ring backstage. So you already know what's going to happen. It's Aaron Relic and Jay Hayton. Anyway, they fight Ryback in a handicap match. Ryback wins, obviously. However, something interesting here was the fans were actually chanting Goldberg. And I noticed that Ryback actually has a lot of the same mannerisms as Goldberg. He does the entire, like, shaking his head and body and that type of shit that Goldberg would always do. And I think that he's just going to keep squashing these jobbers, and then he's eventually going to move up to guys like Ziggler and sadly squash them. And if they do this right, they could make this guy another Goldberg because he's got the look and the size, and I think they can make it work for him. Then we get Punk versus Jericho for the WWE title. Chicago street fight. I noticed that Punk's drug-addicted sister is at ringside. And the guys, they're wearing these they're wearing these blue jeans, and they look very much like WCW Sid Vicious. They get some ECW chants when Punk uses a Singapore cane. Jericho beats up Punk in front of his sister. His sister slaps Jericho. Jericho gets a beer from under the ring. I have no idea what the hell it was doing under there. There was actually a couple beers under there. Should probably give the ring crew a sobriety test like they did to Punk. So he pours the beer on CM Punk. He gets him in the walls of Jericho, but Punk uses a fire extinguisher to escape. Punk hits an elbow from the top rope through the Spanish announce table. Jericho uses a cane to escape the Anaconda Vice. Then Jericho gets ready to go for the GTS. He's going to take Punk's move. Punk reverses it. And at first I thought Punk was going to get him in the walls of Jericho, but he does a slingshot. Jericho's head hits the exposed turnbuckle, and then Punk hits the GTS for the win. So Punk is still WWE Champion, and this has got to be the end of this feud, and possibly Jericho's WWE run. He'll probably take the summer off and then go tour with Fozzy in August. Eve backstage is telling Beth Phoenix that she's not medically cleared, but the Bellas still have to wrestle. The Bellas are freaking out, and she says, "Don't worry, it's not karma." So they go out to the ring, and we get Nikki Bella versus Layla for the Divas title. Layla returns. I really like Layla. I'm glad she's back. She's been gone for almost a damn year, so I'm glad she's back. The twins use twin magic, but Layla hits a neckbreaker on Brie to become the new Divas champion. So Layla just went out there and became new champion. And this is probably a bad sign. I don't think the Bellas got fired. I think their contract came up and they just didn't want to renegotiate. So I think that's why the Bellas are leaving. And I hear that Monday's their last night and the end of their contract, so I expect that to be the end of the Bellas. Backstage, Laurinaitis says that he's going to address some things on Raw with Triple H. Probably because Laurinaitis signed that contract with Brock, giving him control and saying it's going to be Monday Night Raw starring Brock Lesnar and all those demands. So I think this is going to be something about that with Triple H. Then we get the main event, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, Extreme Rules. Lesnar comes out, he's got his MMA gear on, he's got sponsors, an amazing deal he worked out with WWE to actually go out there and keep his sponsors. This match, this is the way to do it. They could have gone out there and tried to have a match that would have been decent, probably, maybe below average. However, just going out there and having Lesnar do this fighting MMA stuff was awesome. I really liked it. Lesnar just elbows Cena's face. He takes him down and just starts elbowing him in the face. Cena gets busted open. We did get blood on an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, so I was surprised. But he busts Cena open, and it's just a fight. It's not really a match. A ref takes a bump. Lesnar rubs Cena's blood on his chest like he did when he laid out Hulk Hogan years ago. Lesnar puts Cena's chain around Cena's legs, which was kind of bizarre, and then he hangs him over the ring post. And he's just destroying John Cena. Lesnar hits an F5, but the ref takes another bump. Another ref gets in, but Cena's able to kick out because of the delay. And then Lesnar gets pissed off at the ref. He attacks the ref. Lesnar brings in the ring steps, and he does this move where he runs and jumps off the steps and hits Cena off the apron. However, he was going so fast. I think he was just supposed to knock him off, but he was going so fast, he goes through the ropes himself, and it looked like he hurt his knee. And I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be bad. But he was able to finish the match, and I think he just walked it off. He tries it again, and Cena hits him in the head with the chain wrapped around his fist. He busts Lesnar open, so they're both bleeding. And then Cena hits the attitude adjustment on the steps for the win. Afterwards, Cena cuts a really weird promo. He talks about how his arm is messed up, and Brock Lesnar did work his arm in some submissions. And I kind of wonder if Brock Lesnar forgot how to actually wrestle without hurting someone and may have applied too much pressure and legit hurt Cena's arm. But Cena talks about how his arm's messed up and he knows his boss. I don't know if he thought he would be forced into vacation or fired. I'm not really sure what this promo was supposed to mean, but he makes it sound like he's going to take some time off. He puts over Chicago, and that's it. The show goes off the air. So I thought this pay-per-view was awesome, and I had heard the rumors that Cena would win at Extreme Rules because Brock, just because Cena's been made to look so bad, losing to Tensai, The Rock, and Brock laying him out all these times. So I had heard that he would win, and I think it kind of sucks because it kills a lot of Lesnar's momentum. However, if he signed a contract to the WWE for a year, and he's only required to do 30 to 40 dates, they probably don't want to burn through those. So I expect they're going to take Lesnar off of TV for a while and then bring him back for maybe SummerSlam or Survivor Series, and then bring him back again for WrestleMania and start pumping out more on-air time for Lesnar. So it sucks. I would rather have Lesnar win here. However, it's not like they made him look weak. The guy completely destroyed Cena. He dominated him the entire match and technically won the match. However, the ref wasn't there to count the F5. So I thought overall Lesnar didn't look weak. He looked like a powerhouse war machine out there, and I thought it was a pretty good match, the best match you could probably get out of these two guys, and make it look legit. So overall, I thought the show was really good. I think every match had some good stuff in it. Even the Divas match with Layla coming back. The only match I guess didn't really need to be there was Brodus Clay versus Dolph Ziggler, and that's only just because of my personal preference of why did they have to bury Dolph Ziggler again to Brodus Clay. So that's it. That's my thoughts on Extreme Rules. Leave your thoughts on the show in the comments. I hope you guys like this review. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I'm going to do my 100 subscriber shout out video sometime next week. And that's it. So I hope you guys liked the video, and thanks for watching.